Thank you everyone for joining us in our third year of the Literacy in Remote Schools program. This is a very important thing that we've been doing over these last 3 years. I want to share some thoughts about our thinking about education over the years with Good to Great Schools. I want us to reflect on this third and last year of our program and where we've got to with our schools and the distance that remains before us if we're going to make the work that we've done over the last 3 years amount to something sustainable and that lasts into the future. We've got to adopt a mentality of no excuses. We've got to set the highest bar possible, because we'll never prevail against the challenges we have if we don't have that mindset of no excuses. It's a battle. It's a hill we have to overcome. And we can't overcome that hill if we allow ourselves to indulge in excuses. The student has not learned, the teacher has not taught. And it puts the whole accountability for our school in our hands. If our kids are not learning, it is because we are not teaching. And I find Siegfried's operating principle with direct instruction obviously very bracing. More bracing for you than for me as teachers, because if we're not succeeding with the learning, we're not succeeding with the teaching. And I think that nostrum of direct instruction must be kept fair and square at the front of our minds. It must be the banner of the school that's serious about making education a life-transforming opportunity. We've got to stop allowing predestination to be the future of our remote children. We've got to allow education to be the one opportunity to transform destiny and to make new destinies. It's the one chance the child will have. School is the only place where we can change destiny. I really reject the idea that schools should just be a class replication sausage machine. Schools should be the place where class doesn't matter. Schools should be the place that says there's no room for class discrimination. We've got to have the same expectations of the poorest kids as we do of the advantaged kids. And we've got to strive to get outcomes for the disadvantaged kids that we would expect to be normal for advantaged ones. And school is the one place where we can change destinies and we can change prospects. This is an idea that only kind of became clear in my own mind in the last 6 months. It is this idea that we need student-ready schools, not just school-ready students. We need schools that are going to cater for our kids, that are going to have high expectations of our kids, that are going to give high outcomes for our kids. But they've got to take our kids as they are. Don't make an excuse of the fact that that kid doesn't have books in the home. It's the teaching in the school that should be the issue. And so, in our reform thinking, I think we were not quite clear about this. We need to shape schools that cater for disadvantaged kids. Shape schools that cater to disadvantaged kids, that are based, a whole language approach to learning reading caters for middle class kids, where kids have been immersed in books and literacy all of their lives since they were little babies. And schools that just give whole language to kids, they're not catering to our kids. They're catering to the middle class. And it's failing a lot of them as well. We need schools that cater to our children. We want student-ready schools, not just school-ready students. One of the lessons we've learned very clearly, and it's a universal lesson well known by everybody, but very clear from John Hattie's advice to us in relation to the Cape York Aboriginal Australian Academy, we've got to close the gap in pre-prep and prep. Our schools in Cape York have been going at a very fast rate, 1.5 times in literacy, the average Australian rate. We have had great teachers and students who've worked very hard. But the problem is, if your kid is 300 metres back in the race compared to other kids in the country, they've got too far to go to catch up. And John Hattie said to us, well, you either got to increase the acceleration when we're already going 1.5 times faster, or you've got to start earlier. And in these last couple of years in the academy, we really made a concerted effort to stop stuffing around with whether creche and kindergarten, some other organisation is going to let us at the pre-preps. To my shame, I allow 5 years to go on before I have that fight. Because these people want to play games with the kids all day, play-based learning. And we're begging them at the door for a bit of explicit instruction. Let's use a K-level program for the pre-preps and the preps. And once we started doing it, last Easter, all of our preps that were attending our 3 campuses were on track to read in grade 1. Because for the first time we were working with them in pre-prep and prep. I have a fundamental debate going on with Dr. Chris Sara in relation to this whole question of high expectations. I'm in vigorous agreement about the idea of high expectations, which is an old idea. My problem with Dr. Sara is that we can talk all day about having high expectations of the kids. It is incontrovertible that that is the right idea. Problem is, you can't just have high expectations of Johnny. You've got to give Johnny the means to meet those expectations. And that is my criticism. Having high expectations is one thing. The other thing is to give the child the means to meet those expectations. Otherwise, we're just holding out expectations, cruel expectations of students, without giving them the means to meet those expectations. And of course, my argument in relation to giving the child the means to meet those expectations is to give them effective instruction. That is how you enable the child to meet the expectations you say you have of them. And of course, my critique of Chris Sara is that he's good on banging the drum on high expectations, but as to furnishing the child with the means to meet those expectations, well, I don't see the effective instruction. I just so fervently believe in the importance of education for our remote schools and our remote children. I can't understand why Indigenous leaders don't enough understand that this is as important as land rights. There's 4 important things. It's like building a building. The foundation is land rights. Well, we've got our land rights. The pillar we have to construct is education for our children. And the other pillar we have to construct is good health for our children. And then we build the architecture of a sustainable economy for our people. Those 4 things are my agenda. On the foundation of our land rights. And in Cape York Peninsula, we are at some point going to own 98% of the Cape under native title. We're going to win the land rights fight following on from land rights in the Northern Territory. So we will have the foundation of land rights under our feet. But the pillar that we have to build on top of that land rights is education for the children. Otherwise we'll have land rights and no future. And that's why I regard this work that has been done in this past 2 years and this 3rd year that lies in front of us as so crucially important. Because education is one of the 4 things that we're trying to build in order to put this structure together. The foundation of land rights, the pillar of education, the pillar of good health, and the structure of our future economy. I see this school reform exercise as it's going to take us 10 years. It's going to take us 10 years to turn our schools to great and for our communities to have a viable future, because the one thing that is working, that is like a beacon in our remote communities, is the school. And we're just only into our 3rd year of that crusade, and every community that can say we have got a school that is a beacon for the future of our people is a community that will live long on the earth. So I wish you all the very best this year. I thank you in advance for all of the hard work that you will do and that you have already done. But we've got to redouble our conviction and redouble our energies. Because it is a sacred mission. It is a sacred mission. It is nothing less than the survival of a people that is at stake here. It is nothing less than the survival of a people that is at stake here. Thank you.